Hi, Chris Duff over at Serious Land Capital, vacant land funding partner. So today I wanted to just run by a bit of a brainstorming idea. Also was suggested, really pushed to me by one of my mentors, Andrew Lee, who was just down in Cancun with for a mastermind, handful of us, and legendary coach Trevor McGregor. A truly life-changing weekend. I still have other takeaways I want to dribble in here and there through the podcast. But Andrew was really suggesting, hey, I think you should set up a live event really related to the funding perspective within the land space and have a bit of a unique twist on it. An element could be having kind of a Shark Tank style session of where people bring deals. Maybe we pre-vet some of the better, more interesting ones prior to the event, and I plan to invite a number of the other funders within the industry, and we can kind of go over each of them and almost kind of bid on the opportunity here. Again, bit of a unique twist associated with setting up events here, because I think it's definitely been kind of a grab bag across the industry. I love the on-conference setup where it's smaller pods of people together and hot seat setup, so you can get direct targeting on your business. And then I know other ones are either more panel setups or single keynote speakers, presentation. So there's pros and cons associated with that. And to me, as far as like conference structure, I prefer either just, single day or like a much more significant, 3 to 4 plus day event with a smaller group of people. So to me, if I were to do this, probably in the calendar year would target, December, sometime in between Thanksgiving and Christmas, kind of a capstone event to the year. And I think it would balance out some of the other land events that go on most of the year. Probably would, attempt to host it in Austin, maybe a 50 to 100-ish person max event, single day, and invite a number of the other funders. And kind of the structure of the day would be probably various case studies, maybe like best, worst deals, lessons, etc., from funders or other very high-level operators. Or maybe we bring up as funders some land investors who've worked with us, and it could be a joint presentation on the full process of sourcing all the way through dispo and some of the various hurdles that might have been overcome or complexities associated with the deal. I know we have literally hundreds of those, so I think that could be an effective setup from a presentation perspective, and pretty engaging. So it's like a little less didactic and just more real world utility, uh, so that you can, take it home directly to your own business and see where people are operating across the country. And then also have, the Shark Tank, where we would maybe define it as land tank, for instance, where we could have kind of interspersed sessions where deals are presented for funding and we can kind of break them down accordingly. Similar to how I might do on the land daily diligence, but, in more, again, of a live, well, I mean, land daily diligence is live here, but, in a live in-person event type of setup, plus you have multiple different opinions on deals that could creep up. And, even again, similar to Shark Tank, where it's like, yeah, I'd be interested in this deal, versus now, like, it's not necessarily going to fit the paradigms that I'm looking at. So to me, that would add some extra level of excitement and real possible value add. Right, you could walk away with the deal being funded just by attending an event, and pretty engaging from an audience perspective. So I was just brainstorming around what that might look like. Those are my initial ideas, and I'm not totally sold on doing this just yet. It's still kind of rumbling around. Obviously, we'd have some time if I was planning on doing this end of year, but I wanted to at least start putting out the idea to to our community here and the land community in general, see, hey, do you think this one would you want to attend in the first place? Is it an interesting enough idea to justify a live event here? What do you think about the structure? So, this is the first time I'm mentioning it publicly, very recent idea. So if you are listening to this, feel free to email, text me, direct message me, leave a comment based on, what your own thoughts might be, some feedback, etc. But yeah, the more, even as I'm talking through this, I'm getting a little bit more excited about the possibility of doing this here. I don't think it would be a crazy difficult setup because it's basically doing what we do day in, day out, just in a live event format. So the translation is pretty solid. Plus, I think from our connections in the industry that we could get most of the other funders in place, plus a good amount of some of the higher level land investors, as well as some of the folks still learning the ropes. So it could be kind of a grab bag in between. Plus, whenever I set up these live events, my preference is always having a always available conferencing space effectively, or, networking space. So, kind of have the main presentations going on, but, you want to step outside, whatever, that there's another little area where you can have side conversations regardless of what's going on in the event, because like myself included, some of us said that's kind of the primary goals for these events are, just having some of these more, one-on-one or small group conversations, regardless of what might be presented to the larger group as a whole. So to me, that's always kind of a preferred structure to have that available regardless within the live event space. So to me, that's kind of a non-negotiable to set up to allow for some more flexibility. So that would be the other piece I would add there. So yeah, if you had any other feedback, suggestions, questions, etc., maybe even dates, I'd probably be thinking a Saturday. More than likely, especially when it's a one-day event, that tends to work the best for a lot of people's schedules. So would love to hear more from you. And yeah, don't take this as gospel that it's for sure happening. I'd say it's greater than a coin flip's chance at the moment, but we'll kind of see what the response is initially and start reaching out a bit more over the coming months. So hope to hear from you about this. Hopefully it's as exciting as it kind of is in my brain at the moment, and giving a unique twist within the live event setup. So with that, we'll go ahead and end this one. Recall that if you are looking for funding, seriousland.capital, a zero cost review of your land deals at Land Daily Diligence Facebook group. New members every day. About to go live on that in a couple hours here. And landpricer.ai, my team is supposed to be finished with the outstanding bugs by tomorrow, this Friday, March 21st. Really making a bigger push here. I've already selected some beta testers to work with what we've produced so far. So yeah, everybody's working overtime to get this thing ready. It's been a long time coming, so excited to see it live here very shortly. Subscribe and share. Appreciate listening. Looking forward to next time. Take care now. Bye.